Howdy y'all, name's Mike, Kilo Oscar 4, Golf Romeo Tango. Today we're going to build a quick and dirty antenna feed point and probably a 20-meter speaker wire inverted V dipole. Alright, things we're going to need today. We're going to need a drill, two different size drill bits, a wire crimper, a little bit of zip ties, two red ring terminals, two yellow ring terminals, some different size heat shrink tubing, preferably in different colors, some wire strippers, a little bit of weed eater line, some liquid electric tape, some speaker wire, 3 pieces of drinking water PVC and 3/4, and some regular duct tape. Oh yeah, that's doing pretty good. I'm going to get in behind it and we're going to try to peel it off of the additional shield, off the center conductor. There we go. Now we have our center and we have our shield. We're going to kind of put the shield all together, make sure we don't have a bunch of flyers hanging around. Get them all lined up because we don't want anything grounding out. Alright, now I'm going to take and remove the insulation over the center feed from here up. Oh yeah, look at that old wire. Yep. We're going to take a little bit of heat shrink tubing. Let's cut that down to an average size, a couple inches. Slip it over top of everything. Now we can take maybe red for this section. Let's measure it off about like so. We want to leave enough room that we can crimp our ends on. There's just about enough room for that. Make sure we're not shorting anywhere. I'm even gonna trim some of this foil back just a little bit so we don't have to worry about a short. Now we're we're going to cut a piece of white about to fit this one about the same. Let's see, right about here. Alright, now personally I prefer when I get into the ring terminals that I don't have the little insulation on them. So easy, quick and easy way to get rid of it, just hit it with a heat source for a second and it pops right off. Right, now we're gonna put the insulation on the center feed. Get our terminal ready to clamp. Not too bad, and we'll go ahead and heat shrink it. Put some heat shrink on this guy. We'll tighten this end up real good. I know I would normally solder these on after I crimp them, but the shield on this one's all aluminum and it won't take solder, so I'll just get that guy on there. Plenty of room. We'll crimp it on tight. Heat shrink it down. Take this bigger piece of heat shrink I put on here, and I'll bring it up to where it's just covering the base of everything, and I'll go ahead and heat shrink it out. Alright, now you see we got a little bit here in the middle. We want to make sure that's covered up. It keeps all the weather out, so we'll go ahead and take a little bit of our liquid electric tape. Apparently mine's a little old. And fill in everywhere we could get water intrusion. I'm even going to peel it back here. Fill in all the parts. Don't be scared to do multiple coats if you need to. This stuff's pretty old, pretty thick. It looks like it'll probably one coat it when it dries. Now we're going to work on our center support. We're going to go ahead and Burn the insulators off of these. We're going to crimp one end super tight on this weed eater line. Get it all lined up. I like to do the center that has the hoop in it, the hoop and the little pin, and then I'll take it to the outside and do it with the smaller one and let it crimp all the way in. Now we can line this up here, and we can spread it out and kind of judge about how long we need this. That looks pretty good. Just so we can get an idea, we're going to put it in here, and this ring terminal is going to crimp where it's right about the end. That way it holds pretty solid and it won't let the coax spread out wide. We turn them so that the ring terminals are both facing the same way, because the weed eater line doesn't have much give. Once you crimp it, it's there, and it doesn't have a lot of twist. All right. Now we can put each end together with a screw and a nut, machine screw and a nut, fit them through. Our feed point and support is more or less done. You will connect your radiating element here and your grounded element here. Now remember to take into account the amount of wire that's sticking out here right to the end of the ring terminal, or the center of the ring terminal, is going to count towards your measurement on your antenna element length. Same with this end over here. Alright, after doing a little bit of cleanup, we're going to move on to the antenna portion. We're going to take these little bitty pieces of PVC and we're going to drill a hole all the way through on each end. You can crisscross it if you want. Doesn't really matter here. You can do them both side by side, or you can crisscross them. I'll save the longest one for my center point. Now the center point, we're going to drill one with the regular size. See, this size is just let a string through. And then we're going to go ahead and change the drill bit to a slightly bigger one, because we're actually going to put our feed point right through the center of this, through these holes. And this is so we have a good hanger that we can pull a line up into a tree. This setup actually makes really super great backpack antennas. You can take out the parks and things. Set them up really quick, just about anywhere you go. See the slightly larger hole? What we're going to do with that one is we're going to take the weed eater line back off of our antenna feed point. We're going to fish one side through here and one side through here. Yeah. Now we're going to go and just run our weed eater line back through. We can put these just back together lightly for now, because we'll take it apart to put the antenna back on it here in a little bit. Just this way we don't lose any fiddly parts. Alright, done with that. Now you see we can run a string through this hole and throw it up in a tree, and we have something to actually hoist it in the tree. And the weed eater line is going to keep you from stretching your coax apart when you pull taut on your elements. Set that aside for a minute. And okay, the math for 20 meter and a voice band is, we're looking at about 16 foot 1 inch, but I'm going to go ahead and cut these at 17 foot. So So we're going to pull 17 foot of speaker wire. Alright, we have 17 foot of wire. Now we're gonna split it into two ends, two elements. This should put us right in the middle of the voice band. 14,350 or 325. So now we're going to strip a little bit off each end. These are cheap little Harbor Freight strippers. They work okay, but I guess they could be better. Now we're going to use the same red and white as we did on the feed point ends. That way we can just go ahead and coordinate it and know which end we have for the center feed and which end for the grounded feed. We're going to crimp them on there real good. I can go ahead and probably show you how I solder these on, because I like to solder my ends on. Alright, no need to get too fancy here. We're going to use a torch lighter and a little bit of electronic solder. We're going to heat it up, and we're going to move the heat out so it's not blowing the solder, and we're just going to let it flow in. That one's soldered up pretty nicely. And we can go ahead and put our heat shrink. Everybody's, oh no, don't burn it, but it's good. Now we're going to go ahead and do the other side, but we're going to use the white insulation for that side, where we use the red for this one. Give it a good crimp. Little tip, if you place your wire underneath one side and let it hang up the other side of your handles, it actually holds wire pretty good if you're gonna do a little bit of freehand solder like this. Get it good and hot, then we'll move the heat away so it's not blowing into it, and we'll let it flow. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and install our insulators. So, coming up the other end of the wire, we have about an inch sticking out of the coax. So We're going to start off at 16 foot. And I cut these at 17, so I'm going to come a foot back. And that's where I'm going to place it through my insulator at. Now this is, see, that's my foot right there where my thumb is. I'm going to put it together. I'm going to go ahead and just twist it up the line. This is going to make for pretty easy adjustments on the frequency after we get it set up. Let's get a good little twist on it all the way up. We'll give it a good tug so it kind of sets that twist some. And this is where the duct tape comes in. We don't need much because, like I said, this is how we're going to adjust it later. If we have to make it longer, we can loosen this up and run this twist down the line. Put just a little bit of duct tape on there. And I'm even going to leave it kind of hanging like this. That way I can make my adjustments before I go ahead and cinch it, tie it all the way around. I'll set the other side up just the same. We'll come back a foot. See, I try to get that foot mark right in the center before I start twisting. That way, where this first twist is at, that's right at where I was holding it. Give it a little tug, kind of set the twist. And another piece of duct tape. Like I said at the beginning, y'all, this is quick and dirty. Quick and dirty. We're not making a professional antenna here, but we're making an antenna that should be pretty wide banded. Get across the voice band. We can take it anywhere. We can roll this up, put it in a pack, in a little toolbox like the little toolbox you see over there, and it'll get us in the field. It'll get us for a base station at home. It's really versatile little antenna. So now we can go ahead and connect the elements to the feed point. We got red to red. And this time we're going to go ahead and tighten this down pretty good. And the thing about it is, like how we just made these antenna elements, you can make one for 15 meters, one for 10 meters, one for 20 meters, one for 40 meters. Just put a handful of them in your pack, and you could switch them out if you want to out in the field, or if you took an insulator like this and you made it 3 to 5 inches long, you may be able to slide it up the wire and place it about here and put like a 20 and a 40 coming off the same feed point and make a small fan dipole. see, I can pull these pretty tight and it doesn't pull my coax apart or cause a separation in any of my insulation in here. And now the next step, I guess, is to throw it up in a tree and pin out the ends, and we'll go ahead and test it. Alright, I want to show everybody so you can see it. Just, you can put it up anywhere. Like, there's my feed point hanging in a tree. I got it set up in a classic inverted V shape. Right. It was about 3 inches long on each side at first from my original measurement. I just took and pulled the duct tape, unwound the wire, took about the length of my finger from where it was at, and I made it that much shorter on each end. And I'll show you where we're sitting at. Hopefully everybody can see this. Ooh, some glare. We are right across the center of the band. We're looking at 54 ohms and 1.22 to 1. And that actually gets a little better the further out. But it's pretty evenly across the whole band. You're less than 2 to 1. And it was a quick and dirty feed point and speaker wire 20-meter antenna. Kilo Oscar 4, Golf Radio Tango.
Kilo Oscar 4. This is Victor Echo 3, Mike Juliet Romeo, QSL.
Copy on that. You're coming through loud and clear with a 5.9 signal here in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Roger, Roger, Knoxville, Tennessee. I am in Central Ontario, Canada. You are also coming through with a good 5859. Over.
Alright, that's good to hear. Just put up a 18 gauge speaker wire dipole, and I'm testing it out, and you are the first contact on that dipole.
Well, it's definitely working for you. I myself am on a half-wave end fed, just thrown up amongst the trees in the backyard, and currently I'm transmitting 50 watts on an ICOM 7300.
Alright, I happen to be transmitting 100 watts on IC 7100.
Roger, Roger. Well, thank you for the contact, and you wish you and yours a Merry Christmas and 73s.
Merry Christmas to you too, sir. 73s.